Hey guys, it's your boy Agia. You guys may know me from Twitter, and today I just kind of want to share my thoughts on FIFA 20 gameplay that I tried at EA Play. Just some disclaimers right off the bat. Sorry for the quality. I'm traveling a lot, and I'm just using my phone, and it's my first video ever. But I really want to share my thoughts since I'm getting a lot of questions, and I'll let you know what I think, having tried the game. Secondly, I'm not affiliated with EA in any way, shape, or form. I'm just a casual player who wants the best in the game, and I had the luxury to play, so I thought, hey, let me share some of my thoughts with you guys. So if I say something positive, it's not me trying to sell the game, it's just me and my thoughts, right? And because I'm not affiliated with EA, I didn't get to try the game a lot. So this is just a more first impressions, and I try to test out as much as I can. I only played like 2 games, 1.5 game, and I used PSG and Liverpool, and yeah, I also basically only played kickoff. There was no FUT or anything like that. So yeah, these are my thoughts based on that. So let's just start off right with the physics of the game. The physics of the game it felt good, to be honest. The ball mechanics, the first thing I noticed, the ball moves were really nice, and like it would bounce as it would go along the grass, and even the mechanics of like how the players jump felt really good. There's a distinct vision of like Ramos jumping for the ball, and it felt really Ramo-esque, and I think they definitely tweaked that, and it looked good, and the graphics, the visuals of the players look fantastic as always. Let's start to dive into the game itself, right? So the speed of the game is the first thing I want to mention. That's the first thing I noticed, and it was like kickoff is always slower than the actual game of Ultimate Team, but at the same time it gives an indication of how it was, right? It was very slow down. It felt like PES in many ways. It felt like I had time on the ball, and passes took a while. And yeah, but as a consequence of that, I definitely felt like fast players felt very fast. So someone like Mbappe was like a rocket compared to everyone else. And one of the positive things was when you threw the player, like through the back line, there's no one catching you with Mbappe. So it felt like that's definitely something they try to address, where the center back or the defenders have 99 pace all of a sudden, and they just catch up out of nowhere. So there's definitely a greater difference between pace stats. But yeah, let's move on to one of the most important things that everyone wants to know about, which is defending. I think it felt better, right? So it was definitely more rewarding to play manually. Tackles felt cleaner, and the tackles felt better. You could actually, like, it felt like they were actually trying to get the ball, and I had to, whenever I tried to, when I did a proper tackle, I always got the ball, which was great. I think another aspect that was great was that you had to manually switch to a defender when the through ball came in. So it was like the player was kind of like dumb when the ball came in. I had to manually switch to that player to make him alive and react to the ball, which is another aspect of the manual defending, which was good, and you could definitely see that. And I know people will get pissed because the defender was definitely like not doing much at all, but I'd rather have that than the AI just capturing everything. One thing the AI does well though is like being in the right spot if you give them enough time. So if you're into much like slow build up play, the players definitely are gonna be in the right spots to intercept your passes. So gotta keep that in mind. I also noticed that the pressure was really strong. There was like I was playing against Dortmund, and I had like 3 people surrounding me, and it was a lot of pressure from all these different players. Um, and I definitely didn't get a chance to see how much that drains the stamina, but there's definitely a lot of pressure coming on. And I really hope that the stamina dwindles. But unfortunately, I didn't get to see that because they cut the game halfway through and had to let other people play. Um, Also, another thing that people are not going to be happy about is that auto lunges are still there, and I definitely saw many cases of like lunging for the ball, which is definitely not some positive. Additionally, I think I tried the contain and second pressure, and the contain was, they were like closing down someone, but they were rather far from the actual ball, so it feels like it wouldn't be as strong as it is now. And the same thing with the second press, it wasn't, they weren't like completely shutting everything down. There was still definitely space to play around with, and if you don't make the tackle, the person's just gonna go through. It's just gonna stand there, and you can just keep running into the person. um, but yeah, I think those are the main things about defending. And then so let's move on to passing. I think passing felt good. I definitely couldn't tell all these. I couldn't try it as much as I wanted to, but here's some things I noticed. So the driven pass is definitely gonna be less powerful. I definitely noticed that the players who are worse in terms of ball control would definitely take heavy touches out of the driven passes, and the players definitely take a little bit of touch when the ball just zips into them. Even someone like Cruz could not just like control the ball easily, and with worse players like Carvajal, it was just like all over the place. They also added a couple of new the pass mechanic you might have seen. So it's like a ding pass that kind of like Fabregas was famous to do, which would be just like a little dip, and you can do that for a normal pass like an X pass or a through ball. Um, I also felt that I tried out some of the crossing, and flatter crosses don't work well. It feels like the defender were able to get them really well, but the floaters, it felt like the defense was just kind of stuck in the middle. I think it's a glitch, and the ball would come in and they kind of just stood there stuck there. And I felt like there's definitely opportunity to score from that. And I tried the flick on cross, and when you did a flat, because the flick on cross turns out to be a flatter cross most of the time, it doesn't work quite well. In terms of the El Tornado cross, which is what we'll get to in now, talking about dribbling and skill moves. So El Tornado crosses definitely don't work as well, and they're not as OP. I tried a couple El Tornados, and the ball would just go way too high. And what I noticed is that they added a component of error between skill moves. So there's a chain, there's an error component to every time you do the skill move. So most of the time, I felt like the El Tornado has a big percentage of like error in it, so you can't get a perfect El Tornado that just rises and you can just cross it. And you can't also do chain skill moves. So if you guys remember the text like elastico, that can happen because as you go through, that error gets compounded, and therefore the ball just kind of moves away. You take a bad touch and it's easy to recover. So, which I think is a good thing. So it makes the game a bit more realistic. But those cool moves that you could spam over and over again, definitely not there as much anymore. Combos felt fine though. A couple of the combos I tried, like fake Rabona, Croqueta. After that, it felt okay. Doesn't seem very much different. Also, I think one noticeable thing was with skill moves. Now, heel chop, the Ronaldo chop, is a 3-star skill move. I thought that was noticeable. And in general, like dribbling was nice. It was kind of clean with good players like Neymar and Mbappe. It's part of like how they were moving as well. Like the ball was kind of glued to their feet. And that's the most noticeable thing about dribbling that I tried. I tried a lot of like L1 dribbling, and it felt weaker than it is in these editions of the game. But I think with Neymar and Mbappe, definitely felt a bit better. And yeah, so let's move on to shooting. Let's start with the good news, right? So 360 shots don't seem to work well anymore. We tried a lot of shots just like facing away from the goal, and it definitely seemed like the shots were powerful, but they would always miss the target. Definitely didn't miss the target. But moving on to a bit of the bad part, finishing still seems hard to me in the box. It was definitely not easy to finish chances like it was in FIFA 17 and 18, where you just do low drivens. Time finishing is still there, but I didn't notice the difference like as much. Like, yeah, it's even if you time it, it's still not perfect to finish like it used to be. Long shots still felt overpowered. Even untimed shots were just like they felt really strong, and especially like volleys. I did a flick up with Firmino, and the dip on the ball was insane, and it was almost a goal. And a couple guys that I played with also tried shots that were long shots, and all of a sudden it's hitting the bar, and I'm like, what the hell? Um, and then first time shots, which is one of my most hated things about the game right now in its current state. I felt like it was weird because there were definitely a couple instances where we tried it and the ball was really slow. Like, that's what they fixed. I think the connection is not perfect, but it was still it hit the post from a ridiculous angle from Bale's weak foot. So it was like, what is going on? We tried a couple more others, and they were close efforts. None of them went in, like they do now. But definitely, I feel like that's not something that's completely fixed. Weak foot shots also were very strong, even with the 3-star weak foot. The shot statistic definitely takes higher precedence, in my opinion, than the actual weak foot rating. So yeah, I think not very positive in terms of the shooting. Personally, I felt a bit um I guess in a way disappointed. I felt like I really wanted the 1v1 to be super strong, but that was not the case in my opinion. So yeah, let's move on to set pieces. I think their set pieces, they were changed quite a bit. Let's start with corners. Corners definitely were one of the things that you'd immediately notice is that the matchups between players is much better. So you don't have a Conte fencing a Van Dijk. They said that that's something that it seems to be better. When I looked at it, all matchups were always good. Couldn't score a goal from corner. Tried a lot of near post, didn't quite work. But there were 2 goals from rebounds. So yeah, I think that's part of the glitch that I was talking about earlier, where the ball just kind of like, if it bounces around in the air, the defenders are kind of frozen. So they scored off rebounds, 2 goals, and one of them was quite ridiculous, to be honest. The keeper just stood still. So but yeah, at least that's positive and negative at the same time. Free kicks were kind of cool. Was kind of throwback to what it was before, where you kind of aim. I managed to hit the post, which was cool. With Trent, you can kind of change the types of spin on the ball. You can do a knuckleball. You can do like a top spin, bottom spin, and then you can adjust the power. So you kind of like aim at the goal, and it's like really fast. So it's really hard to like aim precisely where you want it. It's really hard to like get it to exactly what you want. It's like taking a corner in the current game with a free kick corner taker who's not really that good. It's just like moving and buzzing around. You have to be very precise in how you want to put the free kick. So it's not going to be easy to learn, but I'm 100% sure that pros are going to learn it very quickly and get used to it. And free kicks, you can score them, definitely, for my bit. So just some other thoughts that I noticed with the game. Physicality felt good. Players like Casemiro was just bullying everyone. I literally could not do anything against him. The strength was incredible. There's again a glitch like with the floating ball. I kicked it from halfway accidentally, and the ball just kept bouncing, and the goalkeeper just stood there staring at it. I almost got it, and so I know there's something they're trying to. That I told Zaro too, so he knows, and hopefully that's something that's fixed. Zaro showed me a clip of the goalkeeper going inside the goal for a free kick, so that's another glitch. And these are just little things that I'm just talking about that I noticed. But yeah, another point is that Volta has its own skill moves compared to the actual game. So you will see different skill moves. So what you see in the trailer necessarily does won't be replicated in Ultimate Team. And yeah, I think lastly I just want to mention, like, you will still see like a lot of like goals that are just make your, tear your hair out, but that doesn't mean that the game is not improving. We got to remember that, right? So of course a lot of the problems are related to connection and delay, so those are not something that's just gonna fix magically with improvements in the game. But overall the experience was that they made some changes, and hopefully they will keep making changes. I think this is the first test case of the game, so let's see what the future holds for us. So if you have any questions, make sure you tweet at me, or make sure you comment down below. I guess I don't know who's gonna watch it, but yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. It's your boy Dagia, and yeah, catch you guys next time.